Hello and welcome into the Runners Recap with head coach Rod Barnes. As always, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm excited about being here. Always do.
Yeah, well, let's ask you, what episode are we in? Do you know?
14.
He knows. He's right on it. We are in episode 14. We are just getting into the good part of the season, I feel.
Yes.
And I know last week you were saying if you got the 2 wins or split them, you would feel good heading into this next phase in the conference. So just tell me, how do you feel after getting that first win and then letting that one slip away in the second?
I feel good. I was hurting Sunday night and Sunday during the day on the travel back because I thought we let a great opportunity to get away from it. But I remember we talked and I said, hey, if we could get one, I would feel really good. So I've been saying that to myself for 2 days now, that I feel really good. But I'm really proud of our guys. I thought they played well. We won the first game, and I thought we really took control of the game. And the second game, we had control in the first half, but I thought we ran out of gas and didn't give ourselves a chance with the last 2 minutes to win the game. But we'll learn from it and grow from it. But whenever you can go on the road and have 2 games on the road, get one, you got to feel good about that.
Yeah, and I will say the Aggies, it looked like the environment there, that's a pretty tough environment, I think, in the conference. You can probably attest to.
Right.
So to see your guys get out there with an early lead and just look confident heading into that second half, where did things really start to go wrong? I mean, I watched towards the end of the game there, and I think obviously offensive rebounds, it looked like the ball was just bouncing to New Mexico State. But for you, where did you see it kind of break down?
I thought at the end of the half, we had a 12-point lead, and they shot an open 3 off of a missed shot from us. So if we make the shot, we could go up 14, but we missed the shot. They dribbled down and hit a 3, cut it to 9. It kind of took some of the air out of our guys. That's when I was kind of not really so much concerned that we would lose, but I knew it was going to be a tough game coming out the second half because it is a tough environment. And we have become that team that is always kind of nagging at the big boy on the block. So I knew that fans would get behind them, and they did. And I thought our kids played pretty good. But down the stretch, I just thought we ran out of gas. We didn't defend as well off the dribble. Our help and recovery was a little slow. And then they got a bunch of offensive rebounds and 2 stretches there that I thought was really, really bad for us.
And what were you telling your guys when you had those timeouts there? Because, I mean, I'm sure that that's tough when you're watching them. You know they got it in them, but it's not showing. What were you trying to get them motivated
the
with?
thing I kept telling them was like, hey, man, we're okay. We're fine. We're on the road. We've talked about the experiences on the road, that teams are going to make runs. Fans are going to get into it. And I said, we've done our work early. We've taken the fans out of the game. So just be patient. You know, as the longer the game goes, the more pressure is going to be on them. And I kept saying, do what we've done to get to this point. Don't get out. Don't get to looking at the clock. Don't get concerned about them making good players. They're a good team. So each time out, I was trying to encourage our guys and trying to keep them calm because I knew it was loud in there. And I knew they were really going on a run. But I just, again, just looking in our guys' eyes. And, you know, I just think, you know, from now on, we go on the road, especially in conference play, we've got to play a little bit more deeper in our bench because our starters got extremely tired, and I think that cost us the game.
And a little bit of behind the scenes, the travel woes have continued for the Roadrunners, which may have caught up to you guys. So once again, you had some delayed traveling, getting over there to El Paso to then drive to New Mexico State. So maybe that was a little bit of the problem there as well in the game.
So. It was a quick turnaround. You know, we played at Rio Grande Valley and you know, spent the whole day basically in the airport. So once we got there, we didn't get a chance to shoot around the day before. We didn't get a chance to shoot around the day of because it was a 4 o'clock game. They gave us a really early shoot around time, and I wanted the guys to sleep in because we had gotten to the hotel so late. So really, we just went to the game and prepared there on their court right before the game, and that's just not normal routine. And but again, I thought we did some things really well, and I was proud of our guys for hanging in there. And hopefully when they get here, we'll close once we get a big lead.
Yeah, well, I would say from an outsider's perspective, pretty good that they started that game off well with all that stuff that most people don't know about. When you see the team, you think that they've had all the same time and warm-ups and shoot around, and that's important. So it's good to know you guys got out strong in that first half, but we'll work on that second half. And then quickly to go back to Rio Grande Valley, just talking about you guys got off to a lead and were kind of able to roll with that momentum. How did that feel again on the road to start your road conference play that way?
Well, once we got the lead, I was pretty confident that we could keep the lead just because of the way the game was going. We had gotten them in a situation where they had some foul trouble, and we knew if we just keep pressing the issues and keep attacking that, we would get down the stretch, with the opportunity. And even in that game, we had an 18-point lead with 4 minutes or something to go, and with a minute to go, we got a 6-point lead with the ball, and that just shouldn't happen. But I thought our guys, started to be a little cautious, and they made some shots, and because they pressed, we turned it over a little bit. But I thought we handled ourselves well. I didn't see us lose our composure. Every time we needed to make a play, we made a play, and as a coach, that's what you're looking for, especially when you're on the road.
Yeah, well, on the road, now back at home, and the Roadrunners like to be at home like most teams do, but you guys have been perfect at home so far this season. We will keep saying that because that is a good vibe, of course. So as you enter into this week at 2 home games, tell me about how good it feels to get back to the Accardo Center.
Well, it feels great because, we've had a lot of success here, and our kids really enjoy playing here. Each game, we're starting to get a better crowd, so they're helping us through some games, and I thought they did that 2 weeks ago, and hopefully we'll have a great crowd this Thursday and this Saturday. But just to have the guys in their own beds, having the opportunity to practice. We had guys even this morning before practice got in on their own, get some free throws, get some shooting in. It's just being familiar and comfortable with being home. And again, we've had a lot of success here, so obviously in conference play, if we can continue to do that, it'll put us in a great position at the end of the year.
And hosting Kansas City, the Roos, they had a slow start to their season, but it kind of turned things around. So when you look at this team, of course, the name that I looked at, the guard Xavier Bishop, he has been a standout for them. How are you going to shut down that guy when you see some of the stuff he's been able to do on tape?
He's been really good, and he's having a great year. And he's caused us problems in the past because he's a really quick guard and he can shoot it really well. And again, he's having a great year. So we're going to have to do what we've been doing at home. Teams that have come in and their best players are high scorers, we've been able to shut them down, at least keep them under their average, and that's what we call shutting them down, to keep them under the average. And it'll take a team effort. But, again, I think our guys are confident and more confident at home than they are on the road, but that's most teams in the country. But I think right now we're playing pretty good defense. And I like the point that our guys have bought into it, that it's team defense, not just an individual one-on-one kind of defense. So when you have that, you give yourself a chance.
Yeah, and you face some of those top teams or the top tier teams in your conference early, but then Chicago State is going to be up next after that, and they have had some trouble finding a way to win this season, to put it gently. But with their team, though, you lead in all categories when you look at the stats. So does this look like a game that maybe be in good hands as long as things don't get out of hands for the Runners? Obviously, because you'll be at home. So
it's excuse me. It's so important to play well, at home, and we won't take them for granted. They've lost 2 close games, and they played a lot of teams. They actually have a better team than I think they had last year. And, those are the dangerous teams that you don't want to look over. You don't want to move on to the next game. And they're talented enough. They've just had injuries and not enough guys on the team. And so that's caused them problems. So we'll just stay focused and try to play the best basketball that we can. It is so important, especially this year, and we talked about this last week, to win your home games. Because as with New Mexico State, we beat Rio Grande Valley. When someone can win a road game, it's really, really huge. So we've got to try to take care of home, and if we continue to do that, it'll keep us in a position that we can contend for the championship, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, eyes on the prize, except not really, because we're one game at a time. And I know too, people do get in trouble. When you look at teams and you look at conference standings, you can't pay too much attention, because that is when you kind of get sluggish, take a team for granted, and then things get flipped around on you. So it's about that mental game to stay mentally in it no matter who you're playing. So good advice there. And then quickly, I want to ask you about in the conference, a lot of buzzer beaters across the board. I don't know if you guys initially led the way there, but this past week, I mean, how fun is that to see these games come down to the wire? Or is it a little bit nerve-wracking to know, dang, these teams are playing, they're all playing tight?
That's it. I mean, it's you know, you want to compete, but you don't want every game going down to the buzzer. And what, you know, I think coaches are starting to figure out and players have figured out. We talked about this conference being better. We talked about it being wide open, and now we're seeing it, and it's happening. So it's making you really concentrate and focus one game at a time. And again, with us, you know, I think we were picked like 5th in most polls or something like that. So because we're kind of the team that probably everyone's looking out and said, we didn't think they were going to be good this year. So again, just get home, as I tell the guys, get home with the win. If it's a buzzer beater, you know, it's obviously tough, and you know, and if we win, that makes it great, and you get over it and you feel good about it. But hopefully, you know, we can be on the good side of all of the close games this year.
Yeah, and I'm sure that that feels good too, to know when you get picked kind of in the middle or on the downside of things in preseason polls and you show up, get to shock people. It's better to do that than the opposite, I would think.
Yes.
But yeah, so with all that in mind. I love setting this up. I think this is my favorite part, just seeing your reaction every week.
Yeah.
Are you prepared? Okay, well.
It's kind of like preparing before the game. No matter how many years you coach, you get butterflies before the game. So that's kind of the way this is.
Coach, you're telling me I'm good at what I do?
It's 14 times that I've been nervous every time
Oh,
we get
I
there.
love it. And
when is the punchline coming? So,
well, it's funny. It all started just to be like a fun, let your hair down kind of vibe, but it's really not turned into that. I love it.
It's turned into a buzzer beater for me. That's what it's
I love
turned
it.
into.
Love that energy.
Okay.
So the first question, talking about when teams, well, first off, looking at a conference like the WAC conference, again, I think it's fun to see competition across the board. Well, when you get to the next level, the NBA, you're not really seeing that. In these past few years, we could talk about a lot about Golden State, the Warriors, and just what they've done to the game of basketball. Is it good when you have a dynasty team like the Warriors with basically all manpower on deck every game? They look like they're about to win the title every year. Is that good for basketball or not?
I don't think it's good for basketball. I don't think it's good when someone's just a dominant team. If they earn it, and which they obviously earned it, but what I mean by that, their team is so loaded and they're so stacked. I think it's better when we're all kind of anticipating, or we're all thinking, would it be Cleveland? Is it going to be Boston? Is it going to be LA? And when you have everyone kind of engaged, the last few years, the only thing you said, can anybody play with Golden State? We weren't even talking about beating them, talking about playing against them and competing against them. And I don't think it's good, because there are so many teams that their fans are counted them off because they know they don't have enough to win. So I'm more for balance, and I'm more for. And again, no criticism of Golden State, because I like their team. They did what it takes to be good, and their organization has done a great job. It just forces everyone else to catch up.
Yeah, and I mean, originally they did it the right way, right? It was who they drafted, the coach they got, but now it's turned into every top player wants a chance to be at that team, and Kevin Durant, man, come on. But he's doing his thing. Of course, same thing. I feel the same page as you. I like to watch them. It's exciting to watch their style of basketball, of course, but as a Phoenix Suns fan, I just want more teams to have a chance in the West, okay?
That's it. That's it.
1 year, maybe.
Phoenix is getting better.
Yes.
They're young.
We've been on the rise, I think, maybe for a decade. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We had the era with Nash, and things kind of broke down after he left, but we're back on it.
I like their young team. I like them this year.
We heard it here first.
Yes.
Fan of the Phoenix Suns, I love it. All right, Coach, so speaking of Golden State, and just one of my favorite things too on offense on basketball is good ball movement and kind of seeing that be quick. What's the key to getting that down? Is it something like just the skill and the talent? Is it something like chemistry, a little bit of everything? What's the key to that?
I think you have to have a certain level of skill, but I think more of it's just a commitment to sharing the ball with each other and a mindset and a belief that, you know, we say a lot, more passes, it's more points. I think the other night, Klay Thompson took like 4 dribbles and had like 43 points. But it was because of his movement. It was because the ball moved. It makes it difficult for the defense. So I just think but I think there's a skill set that has to be there because you have to be a good passer to pass it on time and on target to make sure the guys, you know, in a position to receive the ball or shoot the ball. But really, I think the biggest thing is just the mindset of sharing, the wealth of sharing the basketball.
Yeah, like to see it. And I like to see how you guys use a good wealth of talent across the board. Changes up, like I said, that brought that up. Every game, you don't know who's going to get the hot hand, and it's good to dish the ball out, give people a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so when a team's getting in a little bit of a funk, so let's say maybe you guys on the road, New Mexico State down the end, you see kind of the steam pulling off. I've asked you this a little bit, but as a coach, what can you do to successfully pull a team out of that? And it could be a funk in the first half, second half, or just in general, just across a season. When a team's on a downslope, what's your key to success to pull them out?
Well, most of the time, you have to have a really good feel. You have to spend time with your team. You have to have a good feel of what's of their pulse, what's kind of going on. Do we think we can't win the game? As the other night, I thought we were a little tired. I thought in the first half we were rushing things. So it all depends. If you feel like they're not playing with the energy or the fight, then you might initiate, you know, a very kind of tough conversation with them. And then what I mean by that, just saying, hey, we're not working. We didn't work all spring and summer for this. You know, why are we getting to this point and doing it? Or it may be a team that, which I thought we were in the first half, against New Mexico State, I thought we were playing a little bit too fast. So then when they come to the bench, I'm a whole lot more calmer on the road because they need more of my support because they can play off the energy of our fans and being here at home. So it's more of a calm talk because usually if I'm sitting down, I'm going to come like, hey, everything's okay. We're going to be all right. It's just all having a feel of your team and kind of knowing your team. It may be a different time and a different team where you really get on and give the responsibility to the players that you start saying, hey man, you guys need to fix this. You know, it just all depends. Well, hopefully I think we'll be there next year and the following year because of the experience that you kind of let them police themselves. But it's all like everything else. The more time you spend with them, the more you know what button to push or what button not to push, but it's balancing all the time and realizing who you have on the floor, who's been playing, and all of that draws into what you try to do to make sure or what strategy you use.
Kind of like psychology a little bit.
It
sometimes.
Is. It is.
And you sound like a man that's been doing this for quite some time.
Well, I mean,
you know the tricks.
I've been around a little bit, and I've seen some good things and some bad things happen, and you know, just picking the points and again knowing your team. Right now, we're still not young, but we're kind of going through some things that we've never gone through before, just because the inexperience. Wouldn't say we're young, we're inexperienced. So just trying to get a feel for what is needed to kind of get them going. Sometimes I may just get upset with the referees.
I may or may not have seen that.
Well, I do that for the point of I'll tell the players, I'm fighting for you guys, and you're not fighting for yourself.
Right.
But I try not to use that too much because then they'll go, the referees cheated us, and I don't want that to happen. But if I need to do that, if I need to get a technical, I will. If I think it's going to fire a team up, if I need to pat them on their backs and tell them, hey, I love you, I'll do that. Whatever is necessary.
So there's
try
a point.
to get them out of the funk.
I get it, there's a point, but when you're at home, you said you like to feel the electricity a little bit more, so I'll have to keep an eye out for you this week. And Coach, we're going to last end it with this question.
Okay.
What does success mean to you?
Oh, wow.
I know.
This is why this hot seat is something else. Success to me is setting something that's been presented to you, whether that's setting a goal or something you present to someone, and doing your very best to accomplish it, and knowing whether you're successful or not, that you've given your very best. There's certain things in life that we're just not going to accomplish for whatever reason, whether someone else has control of that or we don't get the opportunity to do that. But success to me is when I can help someone, I can see someone or myself knowing that I gave it all I could possibly give it. And whatever results, I'm willing to be okay with those results. But I believe if you give your very best, and that across the board, not just working hard, but learning, that's having good relationships or whatever it may be in that particular area or arena. I think if you give your very best, I think we all can accept what someone else may call as failure. Is really about helping us learn. So a lot of times I tell our guys, when we've given our best, but the scoreboard said we lost, but actually we learned. And to me, that's success.
See, this is why it started out as a fun thing, and then I was like, I'm going to learn a lot from this guy, and I have.
I don't know about that.
Well, I hope everyone else is listening.
You just made some hard questions for me, and you always say the tough one for last.
I do, but I love it. So thank you, as always, Coach, for your nuggets of knowledge and for letting us in on the Runners, and we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with Runners Recap.